Hi, everybody. Welcome to my presentation, Embracing Resilience, LGBTQIA+, a journey of struggle and triumph. My name is Mandy Waite, and I'm the Assistant Director of Montana's Peer Network. I am a lesbian woman in long-term recovery who didn't come out until the age of 37. I have witnessed firsthand the transformational power of acceptance, support, and inclusivity from many within recovery communities. Yet, like countless members of the LGBTQIA+ community who've come before me, my journey has also been marked by moments of fear, judgment, and significant adversity. Embracing my authentic self has meant navigating a world that, at best, strongly favors heteronormativity, and at worst, as history has shown, can be hostile to individuals like myself. Despite monumental progress in recent decades, LGBTQIA+ individuals continue to face discrimination, adversity, and stigmatization. This presentation aims to explore the intersection of LGBTQIA+ history, mental health, addiction, and recovery, shedding light on the unique challenges faced by members of this community. In the tapestry of human history, the LGBTQIA+ community has woven a thread of resilience, creativity, and love that stretches back centuries. The LGBTQIA+ community has a dark but rich history that spans millennia, showcasing immense resilience. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see Sappho and Plato from about 630 BC to 347 BC. Ancient Greece saw the flourishing of same-sex relationships with figures like Sappho and the philosophical musings of Plato touching on love and desire between individuals of the same gender. Moving onward, 1610, you see Virginia's sodomy laws. The Virginia colony passed the first sodomy laws, imposing the death penalty for offenders. This marked a dark chapter in the LGBTQIA+ history as legal persecution took a really brutal turn. 1641, Massachusetts broadens laws to include women. Massachusetts expanded on the Virginia legislation, now targeting both male and female same-sex relationships in its penal code. The Victorian era, so 1837 to 1901, the 19th century was marked by the stifling mores of the Victorian era, imposing strict gender roles and stigmatizing any deviation from heterosexual norm. Section 377 in India, this was in 1861, India passed Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, criminalizing same-sex relationships. This draconian law persisted for over a century, until it was finally struck down in 2018. And the last on this slide, Havelock Ellis's pioneering research. So 1897, Havelock Ellis challenged prevailing notions with his groundbreaking research on human sexuality. His work laid the foundation for more nuanced understandings of sexual orientation. So on the left here, from 1948 to 1953, we have Alfred Kinsey's revolutionary research. Building on Ellis's work, Alfred Kinsey's studies on human sexuality, notably the Kinsey scale, revealed that homosexuality was far more common than previously assumed. Kinsey argued that the rigidity of institutions like religion, marriage, and social norms were often more damaging than the sexual behavior itself. He advocated for the change of laws to end bans on specific sexual acts, including homosexuality. Then in 1957, you have Evelyn Hooker's trailblazing study. Her paper, The Adjustment of the Male Overt Homosexual, revolutionized perceptions of homosexuality by demonstrating that homosexual individuals were just as mentally healthy as their heterosexual counterparts. From 1925 to 2011, you have Frank Kameny's pioneering activism. He was an astronomer employed by the U.S. Army Map Service. He faced discrimination based on his sexual orientation. When he refused to answer questions about his sexuality, he was terminated. Undeterred, he took his case all the way to the Supreme Court. although he did not succeed. This experience transformed Kameny into a tireless activist. In 1965, he led the picket line at the White House. He collaborated with groups like the Mattachine Society and the Daughters of Bilitis, organizing pickets at various government institutions. Kameny also played a pivotal role in the campaign to overturn DC's sodomy laws in 1963. The bill he drafted eventually passed 2 decades later. His advocacy extended to the removal of the classification of homosexuality as a mental disorder from the DSM. 1969, the Stonewall Riots, likely the most well-known. The Stonewall Riots were a watershed moment in LGBTQIA plus history. On June 28, 1969, a police raid at the Stonewall Inn, a popular gay bar in New York City, sparked resistance from patrons and activists. The ensuing days of protests led by transgender women of color like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera marked a turning point. The LGBTQIA plus community's defiant stand against police harassment galvanized a broader movement for LGBTQIA plus rights, leading to the establishment of pride parades and renewed spirit of activism. 1973, we saw a monumental step forward when the American Psychiatric Association removed homosexuality from the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders, affirming that being an LGBTQIA plus member is not a mental illness. And then June 26, 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court held in a 5-4 decision that the 14th Amendment requires all states to grant same-sex marriages and recognize same-sex marriages granted in other states. So the classification of homosexuality as a pathological behavior in the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual of Mental Disorders had really far-reaching consequences. It provided a basis for justification of criminal laws such as the 1948 Miller Act, which authorized penalties of up to 20 years in prison for individuals engaged in same-sex relationships. Explanation for anti-gay laws. The classification was used to rationalize laws against congregating in public places and to support discrimination in public spaces and housing against, quote, known homosexuals. And then medical interventions. This misguided classification led to a range of harmful medical interventions aimed at treating same-sex attractions, including lobotomies, sterilization, and hormone injections. The discrimination and prejudice that LGBTQIA plus individuals face contribute significantly to their higher rates of mental health challenges. According to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, LGBTQIA plus individuals are more likely to experience mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, and substance abuse disorders due to the cumulative effect of societal stigma, discrimination, and isolation. Statistics reveal that depression and anxiety, that LGBTQIA plus youth are 4 times more likely to experience symptoms of depression and anxiety compared to their heterosexual peers. LGBTQIA plus individuals, especially transgender and gender nonconforming individuals, face significantly higher rates of suicide. Studies have shown that transgender individuals are nearly 12 times more likely to attempt suicide. The LGBTQIA plus community faces higher rates of substance abuse disorders compared to the general population. SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, reports that 39.1% of LGBTQIA plus individuals use illicit substances compared to 17.1% of heterosexual individuals. The interplay of addiction with mental health struggles is often profound within this community. Substance abuse can frequently serve as a coping mechanism for the discrimination and rejection they face, exacerbating the cycles of addiction and mental health challenges. Looking back, it's no surprise that I didn't come out as lesbian until I was 37. And I was had 5 years in recovery by the time I came out. The journey was fraught with uncertainty and fear as societal norms and internalized stigma collided with my newfound sense of self. In many ways, my recovery journey paralleled my journey towards self-acceptance. Both required vulnerability, resilience, and a supportive community. This history underlines the significant progress made in understanding and advocating for the rights and acceptance of LGBTQIA+ individuals. However, it also emphasizes the vital work that remains in creating inclusive and equitable communities. Together, we can continue to create safe spaces where members of the LGBTQIA+ community can embrace their authentic selves without fear and be welcomed into communities, including behavioral health and recovery communities, with open arms. Thank you so much for attending my short little presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.